Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. We have a really great resin tutorial for you today, and we'll show you how to make a beautiful memory flower piece. This flower is from my son's boutonniere from his grad, and I just wanted to have this memory forever, and what better way than to turn it into a pretty display. Your flowers must be completely dried out before setting them in resin. These are the supplies that I'm using, and we'll link these in the description box below. There's also a detailed blog post about this tutorial and many more tips on working with resin right on our main website, as well as a really good safety article when working with resin that you might want to check out. I'm using a wooden plaque and the size is 5 by 7 inches. Be sure that you're familiar with using resin before jumping right into any tutorial, but especially this one that's using a one-of-a-kind item like an important memento, because you only have one shot to get this right. So just practice on some other pieces first. Once the paint is dry, then you can go ahead and arrange your flower how you like, and then tack it down with a bit of hot glue. Next, create a well with the resin using some painter's tape. There's going to be 3 coats of resin on this piece: a sparkle coat, then a flood coat, and finally a top coat. Be sure to press down the tape really well so that the resin can't get through. And just take your time with each of these steps to get it perfect, because remember, there's only one shot at this. And now that's all done, you can go ahead and apply the first coat. If you use this particular brand of resin, which is art resin, what we like to do is replace the caps with syrup pumps, because the pumps keep everything nice and clean, and then you can also get the perfect ratio of resin and hardener, which is super important. And these pumps just make it really easy to do that, and they fit right onto these bottles. I'm taking 5 pumps of each resin and hardener, and that's going to make approximately 80 mils, and then I'll add in the glitter. And this amount is going to add just a nice sparkle into the background of the piece without covering the rose too much. And then stirring according to the directions, which on this brand is 3 minutes. As you're stirring, just be sure to scrape the sides and the bottom while trying not to stir in too many bubbles. Once that's completed, then you can go ahead and add in your glitter. When adding glitter or color, you should check with the manufacturer's instructions on how much you can add into the mixture without compromising the reaction that needs to take place between the resin and the hardener. Art Resin has it listed at 6% on their site. And if you have any leaks that are coming through, you can go ahead and fix those areas and go around making sure that the tape is still secure. As the resin starts to settle in, you can start popping the bubbles that are rising to the surface. And then cover it up so nothing lands on your piece while it's curing. And then during the first 30 minutes, just check on it from time to time, pop any more bubbles that are rising up, and just make sure there's nothing that's landed on it that you might have to pick out. This has now been curing for 5 hours, and it's at the gel stage where you can now add the next layer. If for some reason you can't add the next layer during the gel stage and your piece has gone into a hard cure, you can just wait for 24 hours and then sand the surface down with 80 grit sandpaper, wipe it clean, and then you can go ahead and add the next layer. And just so that you know, this is just one of many techniques you can try. You might even want to just flood your flower with a clear coat and not even apply the glitter. Totally up to you. There's so many ways to use resin. I'm using 3 pumps each, or approximately 50 mils total.
Sleep till I come home. Dream of something sweet.
Again, go through the process of popping any bubbles and check on it from time to time within the first 30 minutes or so. After about 5 hours, you can go ahead and take off the tape. If you have any stubborn spots, just use a small screwdriver to help get it all off. Now trim off the sharp edges. And sand it all down to make the resin nice and even. To get a super smooth finish, start with 80 grit and then finish off with about 120 grit, or even finer if you have it. If you're finding that the resin isn't hard enough to sand yet, don't worry, just keep on checking back every couple of hours. Then apply the last flood coat. For this coat, it's going to be dripping down the edges, so use something to prop up your piece and get it off of your surface. I'm just using a small box underneath that I had here, and I'm using some parchment paper to protect my surface because this is going to be dripping down now. And repeat the popping bubbles process, but this time you're going to want to take your stir stick to smooth away any drips that develop underneath. And just check on those from time to time. If it so happens that you miss a few drips, you can always go back and sand them off later, but it's way easier to deal with those drips now. So we are finished. One final cure, and now it's completed. And just look at this, you guys. This is gorgeous, and every time we look at this, we'll be taken back to this amazing time in our lives. We hope you enjoyed this video. If there's another resin tutorial that you would like to learn more about, please leave a comment and we'll do our best to do that for you. Till next time, have a beautiful day, everyone.